Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Risen Champion League, where we are going to have Chosen Esports facing off against Roman Esports. My name is Visions. Joined with me today is Switch. And Switch, we got a bit of an interesting matchup coming up today. Both of these teams finished last week 2-0, and they are arguably going to be at the top of their group. So I'm excited to see what we're going to get on the Rift.
Yeah, definitely. Both very strong rosters coming here, and as we start to get into the pick and ban, we could see a couple of picks being contested. No surprise there with the Riv and permaban, and the Urgot as well, a very strong pick. And if you saw that U.GG statistic, we will not be seeing it this game, but either way, Urgot has been seeing some play, especially when we look at the LCS and LEC playoffs as well. Either way, not going to be on the table.
Yeah, we were talking about it a bit before the game. The Riven, you said, would be very unlikely that it makes it through the draft. And of course, we are not going to get that here for at least game number one. We are going to get a Morgana ban, which has been rising up quite a bit there. An excellent flex pick towards that mid lane, which has been rising quite a bit as well. And now we're going to get some jungle bans here with the Kindred as well as the Nunu.
Oh, the Nunu, no surprise. Very much played by Roman's jungler. And the Kindred, actually, we saw in the TSM versus C9 draft, and wowzers, this pick and ban is going through real quick. So first pick Thresh, and as a response, Sejuani and Vladimir. Sejuani, and especially Vladimir, going to be a great utility when we come to those mid-game team fights. Definitely Vladimir, someone that makes your backliner's life a living nightmare.
Yeah, just one of those champions that, again, you're also able to flex pick, obviously more, towards that top lane, but like you said, able to delete that back line, and just able to do so much damage, and something you just always have to watch out for, and those flanks are devastating. Jumping into the other side, though, just as they are, just going right through this pick and ban. We're going to get a Rise, probably going towards that mid lane. You got to get a flex, but the Hecarim, I love the Hecarim, and rising up so much, and this champion just does ridiculous damage.
He does, and the great part about having Hecarim in the mid game is actually he usually initiates fights, and when you are on the initiating side, he can put a huge amount of burst damage, and you don't feel one of his bigger flaws, which is having a smaller HP pool, having a more squishier build. And as a response here, we are going to see the Zed, so that Vladimir most likely going to be into that top lane, Zed in the mid lane, and of course Sejuani as a jungler, and that is going to round out the first round of picks for Roman. They do start the second ban phase, but either way, Zed, I did not expect to see it, and the Rise can still be flexed top or mid, so somewhat of a blind Zed pick.
Yeah, it is a little bit interesting. They do have a couple of bans that it looks like they are going to use to see if that Rise actually will be going to the top side. But the LeBlanc coming through here to try and give the Zed the best matchup possible. And then we're going to see a bit of a pinch on the support role here, as the Thresh has already been locked in for Chosen. So we're going to opt into trying to get rid of that excellent front line and get rid of that Braum here, as Roman now narrows down on the second ban, which potentially might be another mid laner. Instead, looking like it's going to be that Rek'Sai.
Okay, Rek'Sai definitely taking those high priority junglers off the table, and that's just going to allow your Hecarim to do much better in the early game. It's not exactly his shining point. He usually likes to get his first core item before starting to take over a map, and that'll just help him do so a little bit easier. Rakan, rather, taken off the table as well, so no engaged tanks really left up in terms of support pools to pick up, so we'll have to see what Roman going to grab as a response here.
Yeah, we can see the draft slowing down quite a bit now as we're getting ready to jump into the second phase of the picks. And now that's going to be the Lucian here for the AD carry of Roman. So that's obviously still a champion that's been pretty high priority. And when you're able to match it up with a strong support, which it looks like they're going to go for a last pick on, you are able to have that lane dominance, and you can certainly snowball one of those champions.
Yeah, definitely. And I actually saw an adaptation in this last week of playoffs where if you're winning really hard, you actually don't need your Lucian to go that normal Black Cleaver into Blade of the Ruined King build. You can actually just opt for Essence Reaver, just straight up start building towards that crit. That's going to give you a lot of damage once you finally get your 2 to 3 item power spike and start to go into that mid game. And Ezreal here as a response, no surprise there. Ezreal still seeing a good amount of play, and I think people have come to terms that you can no longer build the double tier build, but that's quite all right. He can still go into the Last Whisperer or the Bloodthirster. Zoe going to be the response for Zed, and that's actually a really good matchup in my opinion for the Zoe. Going to be able to poke and decide when she wants to come in and out in terms of skirmishes, and not going to allow Zed to get on top of her too easily.
Yeah, the timing on her ultimate is obviously extremely key when Zed does go for that all in and uses that death
Right.
mark. And we did see in LCS, we saw C9's mid laner actually use this as a counter pick into the Zoe. So it's going to be interesting to see which way that actually goes and who's able to snowball on it. Regardless, we are going to get a Karma to round out Roman's draft down there. So they're going to have that added shield and that added poke down there just to try and enable that Lucian a little bit more and have that aggressive lane and that shoving lane that they are clearly looking to have.
Yeah, a very stark difference in this bot lane as Lucian Karma on one side going to be smashing through with all their absurd base damages, and Ezra and Thresh going to be definitely scaling into the game, but no slouch in the laning phase. If you do land a good hook, you can get that guaranteed W and Q land for the Ezreal, so going to be a good chunk of damage, and they do have gank potential. I would say better than Roman's bot lane, but we'll have to see if that Hecarim does decide to spend time down there, or rather more towards this mid lane that I see is a bit more explosive. The Zoe and the Zed, either one can really get snowballing and take over a game, right? They have great roaming potential.
Yeah, you said it yourself. They have that roaming potential, able to find those picks. Both champions excellent at that. So it's going to be crucial for those junglers to find that opening. And, when I see the Hecarim, all I think about is, this man being able to fly in from the river and just comes into your lane, just able to just completely delete you, does ridiculous amount of damage, able to get that Conqueror rune if he decides to go for that, and just able to heal so much back, do all of that true damage. Overall, just such a high priority pick. And I'm excited to see how this man's going to be able to actually play on this, as he is known for one of the carries for Chosen. He loves to play these champions that do a lot of damage. He loves to be the carry of the game. So that's definitely going to be one of the champions that we have our eyes on, as that's going to be a champion that can certainly snowball here.
Right, definitely. Going to have to look at that as a PowerPoint for Chosen Esports. Now, looking over to the top lane, it's finally the Rise versus Vladimir matchup, and I don't really see it going too much in one side. Both of them have their tools to get out of engages and skirmishes. Rise, of course, with that snare, and Vladimir with the pool to be able to slide out some tricky situations. So both of them, in my opinion, just going to be scaling up and really looking to make an impact around those first team fights, as that later game split push probably going to go in favor of the Rise, just because he has a great amount of wave control and his damage scales up like crazy.
Yeah, and once he gets to those later stages, he's also able to deal with the Zed pretty well, as Zed is also known for being on that side lane. And if he can get that lead and start to get some of those items, specifically the Zonies as well as one of those defensive items, it makes Zed's kit a little bit useless and becomes a lot harder to try and kill that Rise, especially when he's getting the movement speed and the shields, from his kit off of you. So I think that's a great point to bring up. They're probably going to be looking for that 1-4 potentially, and then on top of that, the Hecarim can always come up flying up there with the Rise if they can try to pull off that 2v1, and able to use his ultimate to move around the map is super crucial, as we saw in that Fnatic game going up against Origin. I believe they were using that constantly, or excuse me, Fnatic versus G2 is where they were using that constantly over and over again to be able to get to objectives. So Rise definitely an excellent champion here. However, we have all of the comps rounded out here. We've given you guys a little bit of a breakdown, which means that we now are just going to throw it to a short little break as we get ready to get past that spectator delay. So do not go anywhere, guys. We'll be back in just a few short minutes. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as we get ready to jump into game number 1 between Roman Esports and Chosen Esports here, as we're just getting ready to jump out onto the Rift. Switch, we got to talk, between ourselves here about the drafts here. I think there's some interesting points to bring up. I think we talked about the Rise trying to potentially get that split push going for himself. We also talked about how the Lucian could opt in to go for a different build, as this man doesn't actually fall off this game, as they also don't really have any true tanks, really just the Thresh's Aftershock and whatever resistances he really has.
Right, no tanks, meaning no Blade of the Ruined King is necessary. So he could, like you said, opt into that Essence Reaver, start that crit very early and start shredding through this backline. I mean, imagine if Lucian gets a couple free seconds with Ardent Sensor, by the way, because he does have a Karma and that is a possible build. Imagine if he gets a couple free seconds onto either Zoe or Ezreal, or he's able to get some preemptive damage down onto the Hecarim. Would be very impactful, to say the least. As we see a little bit of poke, though. Gonna dodge around that.
Yeah,
no paddling today.
No paddling today. Not yet, at least, as these guys are actually trading pretty heavily off the start here. It's going to be a pot, at least used for Rise, as that's going to be Doxa now going in for a trade against Zed. So these solo laners already showing us they want to scrap before the minion spawn. So what are we going to get now that we're actually into the laning phase?
Yeah, right. And I think that might just be telling us maybe we should see these junglers pay a couple visits to that mid lane. So we were talking about it before, lots of snowball potential, and you definitely see either of the two champions in that mid lane taking control of the game. We've had nightmares about those solo QZs that get a couple kills. Wow, that's early.
Yeah, it's a very early level too. That's just they're getting him dangerously low. Might have to flash here. He's gonna hold on to it. That's going to be gluten-free Panda actually getting dangerously low, and we'll have to see what Sejuani does to try and respond to that. But overall, that is just gonna be really annoying for the Vladimir in that Rise lane.
Yeah, you know what? He's staying too. The cojones on this boy did not blow flash, and sticking around as well is probably just gonna heal up most of that damage and be alright. So you could say a bit of wasted time, I suppose, for gluten-free Panda not able to get anything off that. Look at him. He's already back to half HP.
Yeah, already back to half HP, and now this is going to be IWT spotted out here. That's going to be ignited now, looking for the solo kill. Doxa, though, going dangerously low as the first blood comes through, following up with the flash, trying to see if he can get anything else. He will not, but that is not what you want to see when you are the Zed. That is an excellent play from Doxa to make up for his top laner's top gank.
Yeah, getting another chunk down onto Vel. The thick autos coming out from Doxa, the peace of mind to do those right clicks. Ended up picking up that kill for an overextended Sejuani, you could say.
Yeah, overextended it. And not just that, but he got the blue buff. And so this Zed, pretty much has to get to that level 6 before he really can start to look to punish the Zoe and go for those all-ins. But now that he has the blue buff and he can just spam his abilities, this is going to look really difficult for Vel. You can see, like, the bubble's going to land, looking for it. He's already going to have to flash away here, trying to see if he can find the kill, and he gets another solo kill. He has the blue buff. He's going to push in this wave. That's going to be Vel losing all of this, and this is just an excellent start here for Doxa.
Doxa is insane. Did you see the angle of that redemption was actually perfectly keeping Doxa out of tower range and also hitting Vel, as now IWT again.
Yeah, they're under both turrets here. IWT going dangerously low. Otto not going to be able to kill him, but they might go back in. But Vel is returning. Sejuani's going to be able to get herself out there dangerously low. And now Doxa in an excellent position to be able to take over this game.
Doxa, man, this guy is coming out steamrolling people, already putting Vel and IWT down a death each and shoving IWT down out again. Just what a performance already, just coming out of the gate swinging.
Yeah, excellent job coming through from them. Also have to give credit to Gluten-Free Panda, as he went for that top play, and now he went and also joined Zoe in the mid lane to make sure that he was safe and able to try and provide as much pressure as possible. So that's going to be probably where Hecarim's spending a lot of time at this point in time, is he is just so strong. Doxa just gonna come back here. Looks like he's gonna go for that Zhonya's first item. Of course, it is the Zed, and he also went with the rune for the stopwatch, so that will help with saving a little bit of extra gold when building that item as well.
It's going to help him out. You can see him already going towards that Zhonya's, and that's going to help Doxa really dominate the mid lane. And I think this might be telling, because we didn't see him go for a different item. If he went for example Ludens, I could see him having a lot more potential to roam, but that Zonius might just mean that he would stick around here in the mid, keep shoving Bell in, get some nice damage down onto the tower as well, since he is a range versus melee matchup, and perhaps just try and chip away at that. TP blown for Shimatora, just getting back into the lane now with a Sheen. And that power spike is rather good for Ezreal, right? Able to proc those Sheens pretty much every Mystic shot.
Yeah, certainly. This is where he's going to be able to look for those aggressive trades now, as you can see maybe a bit of a play in the brush here. Is going to land onto the Karma, but the Aftershock now procs. They're not going to opt in for anything just yet. Hecarim also nearby if they decide to go for that play. You can just see Sejuani now just trying to catch up into this game here, and just trying to see if she can close that lead that Gluten-Free Panda currently has over top of her. But she's making her way towards the mid lane as the Zoe is a bit overextended, but still has that flash. Gonna just pop that ignite on the Vel. Pretty frustrating, but now maybe the play coming through here. Looking for the gank, has the flash, able to flash out. Now here comes the re-engage, looking for the counter gank here from Gluten. Gonna land a bit of damage on the IWT. Ignite ticking, and yet again, they come to the lane to try and punish Doxa. And look who joins her to make sure that they find yet another kill. This one at least will go over to Gluten-Free.
Surprise, surprise, Doxa had all of his summoners up, did not need to blow it this entire early game until now, and was able to use the flash to get away the ignite to re-engage, and another kill. This mid-jungle duo coming out for Chosen Esports is just shutting down Roman.
They are, and you can see the turret play coming through. 160 golds on top of all of this gold that she has for herself. Zed in such a tough situation to do anything. You can't help but talk about this man, as he's just been putting on an absolute beating in this lane, as well as the jungler here. And this is looking really good for them to play around the middle, and they can just flip from there, play towards the bot side. Zoe can start looking for those roams if she likes. And when you get that Zoe roaming, looking for those sleepy trouble bubbles, through the walls that you don't expect, it's so scary. Another bubble gonna land, but doesn't have the mana for the Battle Star, so Bell's gonna get out of that one, and saving grace this time around.
Yeah, that's right, the silver lining here for Bell. Not going to end up dying, but either way, we gotta look at this Zed pick and say it's not gonna get any better for him, really. I mean, Zed is someone who's supposed to really start snowballing into a game, get leads, and then start to melt your backline. So in this case, trying to get some damage down to Doxa. He's level 6.
Yeah, Death Mark is out. Doxa is trying to get out of this one, trying to dodge the shurikens. He will be able to. Now the turret shot's going to come through. Bell's ticking, but he's going to be able to survive. Does put a bit of pressure on the Doxa, but it doesn't really cost him anything there. As we see, we like Fortnite up in the top lane here. Did just get a gank from Hecarim, but overall, he's going to just try and farm up, as he does have a little bit of a farm lead versus Karaoke.
I gotta say, I'm not against the aggression coming out for Vel, right? He has to do something. Unfortunately, just not able to pick anything up and almost giving a kill back in return. You could say Vel was actually closer to dying than Doxa at the end of that exchange. Either way, do like to see some effort. I just don't know how exactly Roman are going to get back into control of this mid lane. We'll have to see if they can pull out some really interesting setups or skirmishes.
Yeah, and you said it yourself, what really other opportunities does the Zed have against Zoe? And the stopwatch is going to be coming up in about 1 minute and 10 seconds. And that's, almost about time. The death mark's going to be up. It's going to come up, I believe, just before. But overall, it's going to be so difficult. The arm guard's in place. You have the corruption potions. It just seems like it's going to be very difficult for them to do anything. And to the bot side of the map, where there's pretty much been no jungle attention here, we can see a nice little CS lead building up for Notorious. And they are working towards some third place right now. As we have a plan. Top side. Glacial Burst is gonna land here. This looks like they're going for the all-in. Karaoke in some trouble here. Nice. Flag is gonna be ticking. Oh, but it's gonna be We Like Fortnite going for the dive here. Tanked up by Sejuani, looking for the gear. Can he throw it out? Play comes through from Karaoke, and now Gluten-Free Panda says thank you very much. I'll take that free kill. We see IWT just getting played like a fiddle and read by Gluten-Free constantly on the map, and they just cannot get anything going.
Let's just add some salt to that wound right there. Win the top side as well. Possibly even get the tower up here, or at least control. Either way, some great plays coming out. You saw Karaoke getting so low and actually baited out the fool as well from the Vladimir. Was able to snare and just get away with that kill. That's just going to feel terrible if you're the side of Roman, and you really have to get a grip on this game before you lose it.
Yeah, Man, this is, you said you have to get a grip on the game, and it's just been really unfortunate for them. And they went for the top gank, ganked at Vladimir level 2. Sejuani tries to punish. She ends up dying to the Zoe early. Then Doxa proceeds to get the blue buff, finds a solo kill onto Vel. Now he's 2-0. Then we see the Sejuani try to make a mid play, gets turned on, dies again, goes to the top side. Gluten Free's there to find him and kill him off the back end of it, and they still don't trade Karaoke. He lives with like 1 HP. This is just unfortunate circumstances here for the side of Roman, and it's like, how do you recover mentally from that?
I mean, say unlucky, go next.
Go next.
Yeah, that would be the solo queue way of doing it, but you know what? The Roman way of doing it is Start Dragon are able to pick it up, actually, so that's a nice mountain. At the very least, going for them with no contest really coming out from Chosen.
Yeah, that's a nice play, coming through, at least getting something for themselves. That also should help with some of the turret putting, as we do see, a lead building up in the bot side of the map. That is the Lucian Karma that are going to be getting slowly stronger, and they're really able to, start pressuring those turrets a little bit more, and they just really have to make sure that Gluten Free doesn't come down to punish them. The spell is going to get chunked out yet again, just looking so difficult. These turret plays are cashing out for Doxa right now.
Right, and let's try and put all this gold flying around onto paper. Or at least, yeah, try to. We do have a good lead coming out for Gluten Free Panda, as well as Doxa, obviously 2-0. You can see the bounties already, 150 and 200. I could definitely see, though, Roman playing off of their bot side, and Bill still has opportunities to roam down if he can manage to shove a couple more waves and get some earlier priority than the Zoe. I could see that going well, right? Because Vel, I don't see him winning much more of this mid lane, but perhaps if he's able to play through his Lucian, he could really start to put his team ahead in this game.
Yeah, they have to do something around the bot side of the map. That's where they have, that little bit of hope left in them, where the game's not over. We already mentioned at the start of the game, the Lucian is going to still scale really well into this one. There's just no real true tanks. So they still do have, a good opportunity to fight back into it. It's just going to take a lot of time. They need to do what they can to stop the bleeding. But, if Doxa keeps playing the way he has been, it may not have an opportunity to, as, he has just been punishing everyone left, right, and center.
And just to check up on this mid lane, Doxa already taking out 4 of the plates from the mid lane tower. Just one measly little plate left before that thing comes crashing down. So I don't know. It's definitely a risk if Doxa were to initiate a roam, right? Leaving that mid tower vulnerable to be picked up, and Cursed Tower Gold is very impactful early on, especially.
Yeah, it certainly is. Going to get it solo, but you have a play the top side. We talked about roaming. Vel's up here. Going to use the death mark here.
Nice.
It's going to be ultimate coming out, but that is what they needed, and that kill went over to the Vladimir as well, which will scale pretty well into this game. So that's a big kill onto Karaoke, abusing him having no flash, able to take advantage.
Yeah, and hey, that's another lane that isn't necessarily set in stone. That top lane was mostly just farming for the most part. Do have a kill onto Karaoke, but he ended up going down. Nice initiation in the bot lane.
Yeah, dive in the bot side here, already going golden here for Turkey. Trying to see if he can get out, flashing under the turret. Gonna use the box, but he's going to fall down here. Ezreal just doing what he can to try and see if they can clear this wave, but now they are onto the turret, and we have a TP penalty.
And there we go, Roman showing some signs of life here, initiating a dive onto the bot tower, and that forces out a TP from Karaoke. Might leave some other points of the map to be played around. You can see Akram and Zoe, Doxa, looking at IWT here in the blue buff as well.
Yeah, let's see if they can threaten this. We do have a bit of a smite fight. Doxa now going on to IWT. No death mark available. Now we're going all in. Big shutdown will go over to the Karma. We're going to get a 1-for-1. Gluten Free is 1v4ing right now. Finds a double kill. Looking for the triple if he can get it. Flash comes out victorious. Looks like he will go down. Big kill comes over to Ezreal. They find the scrap and they will take a 3-for-1.
The horse, look at the damage coming out from them. Rift Herald now being dropped here, and that's surely going to be the end of that bot tower. So mid and bot tower already picked up for the side of Chosen Esports. They are definitely controlling this game, found even better footing after that skirmish, and trying to push the lead even further.
Pushing that lead and watching that Hecarim stack up those Conqueror stacks, and the healing that comes back and the damage, the true damage that he's able to do is just absolutely absurd. And he is currently online. Sheen just came through for him, able to get the tabbies now, so he'll have all of that extra movement speed are coming for those ganks, and he is in an excellent position here. We see the goal lead slowly but surely building up here, looking at about 4K right now for Chosen. They have been just fighting, scrapping, and every time they are coming out on top here. X-Dragon will be spawning fairly soon, and we do see pings coming down around that Ocean Drake.
Right, you said Ocean Drake it is, and gotta put your attention towards the Zed build, because Zed was actually forcing some trigger. Yeah.
Whoa! On it, but that's going to be the Ezreal ultimate coming out now, but not able to find that kill. Just barely going to be able to survive there, and now that should surely give them enough pressure to take this free Dragon.
Right, forcing the Karma to back here, surely, and that's going to mean a mana advantage towards this bot side. You can see Ezreal and Zoe shoving out the lanes first. Thresh. And the Hecarim as well, she's taking control of the river, and that's surely going to be Roman having to back off and give that Ocean Drake over. So Mountain for the side of Roman, but now Ocean for the side of Chosen. Early on, especially when you're ahead, Ocean does feel quite nice. You're able to continue these sieges for a couple more waves than you should. A nice setup here on this bot lane, though. Actually showing, because they're picking out that pink ward, and that's a lot of damage off the Fortnite.
Oh, we like Fortnite. Use the Hemo Plague already, so get some healing back in a few seconds. But Doxa now is trying to see if he can find the trade kill onto him. Ezreal ultimate coming through. Gonna slay We Like Fortnite. Now looking for the re-engage. Bell's gonna go down. Double kill going through for them, as they're gonna be able to pick up yet another 2 kills. It seems like they always have the number advantage, and they will take a 2-4-0.
Not just that, but also some jarring play coming out from Roman, showing on that pink ward rather than just walking away or initiating a dive really quickly, and they just end up floundering around and they get picked off.
Yeah, they're going to get picked off, and the top lane looks like it probably will fall here. WG actually coming up to the top side, looking like he might be able to defend that. Now we have the Ghost coming out. Gluten-free Panda has found Bronson. You are a comma with no health, no resistances really at this point in time. You're just going to go down. That's going to be Karaoke, and Doxa, the duo lane here, going to be able to come out on top, find yet another kill. And it just seems like they're getting picked off left, right, and center, and they're so far ahead, you can't even really do anything about all of this damage.
Me jungle, Esu jungle, says the Ezreal here, as Shimatora able to pick up a red buff here. Now they're going to start onto this mid tower perhaps. Nope, it's going to be a quick recall first. So either way, going to have a lot of gold to spend here. 7k gold, or 6.5 at least, as an advantage here for the side of Chosen Esports. They're just systematically extending their lead further, right? Having quick reactions and able to take out some good picks here.
Yeah, and not only that, but the goal's going exactly where you want it to. You know, we see Hecarim locking in that Trinity Force. That is a huge spike for that champion. He's now able to deal so much more damage. He gets so many different stats from that item. He's going to be a scary little pony in the jungle here that's going to be flying out of nowhere. You have to watch out for it. Dorius goes for a play, but fortunately fails to dash over the wall, so he's going to try and back away. They have to try and just stop the bleeding and stall out this game as much as they possibly can, but it's going to be extremely difficult against the Zoe, the Hecarim, that can just pull the trigger from angles that you may just not be used to.
Another engage here.
Oh yeah, looks like We Like Fortnite's going to try and turn the fight. Has a big Hemo Plague onto 2 members now. That's going to be the 2-shot barrage, finding a big kill with Hecarim now. That's going to be the Shadows, finding a lot of members, but will it be enough? Deathmark going on to Turk, trying to see if they can find this kill. He's going dangerously low. Notorious says, I'll pick that up. They're finally stopping the bleeding, finally finding the fight they need. Flash now on Shimatora, trying to see if they can find another one, but IWG going dangerously low. Stun going to land onto Karaoke. Trying to see if they can follow it up, but they are getting low. Fighting back here. Shimatora dashes forward. Bell and Notorious going for the play. Now Karaoke will be falling down, and now Shimatora should be able to get out, and that is the fight that Roman Esports needed.
A long drawn out skirmish, and Dox is here. Actually, he might be a little tricky situation.
Ignite ticking down, gonna pop one Ignite. He is 1v4, ladies and gentlemen. He is scaring 3 members off. That is a huge paddle start, not picking up the kill. Shimatora looking to come back into the play, but Karma should be able to guide them to safety. Despite another member falling, that was still exactly what Roman needed. They needed to get some of those shutdowns, and they cash out.
Cash out, they do, and getting some good gold all around, and You can see definitely some potential to win these team fights, right? If you land some good hemo plays, if you get Zed onto the right targets, and it's actually even more than that was Doxa in that top lane for the majority of that fight, only showing up at the end to scoop up a last kill. But still, this game is not set in stone. You have some good potential. If Roman actually do manage to play around and get these man advantages in skirmishes, I can definitely see them picking their lead back up.
And I think as I it's going to be a nice little stun that actually comes out, and Gluten-Free is going to get chunked down to about 60% of his health fairly quick there. So they're actually able to deal with the Hecarim a little bit now, as they do have the Sejuani that is a true tank and able to tank up a lot of that damage, and she is also not really worth anything as she is 0-5. So she can just be that meatball that you need to soak up that damage, and rightly so when you have Doxa playing like he has been. He's going to be now looking for those sleepy trouble bubbles through these walls as they start to look for that Baron dance, but instead looks like we will be getting a Mountain Dragon coming up. So a lot of priority coming out here. Now Karaoke going for the all-in onto Vel, trying to see if they can get out, but it's gonna be the Realm Warp getting him into the Dragon Pit. Uh-oh, where are you gonna go now, Karaoke? Nowhere to go, unfortunately. With that kill onto the top laner, that just might lead to the Dragon Pit. To see if they opt in for the fight still, as they are still scared of this Zoe in the Hecarim engage.
Dang. Karaoke took a left where I thought he would make a right, and now Roman, they want this dragon.
Yeah, they do. 1,400 health, trying to see if they can find it. It's going to be secured, but onto the back line. Already Karma deleted. Glacial Prison not going to land. Gluten-Free Panda, however, will be kited out. We like Fortnite. Might like Fortnite a little bit more as of this fight. He unfortunately will get taken out in that one. Was a 2-for-2, but Mountain Dragon was secured by Roman Esports.
You'll take what you can get if you are Roman here. Or rather, oh wow. Actually, yeah, it was Chosen that was able to pick this up. So a mountain on each side. Yeah, there was a miss smite because in the end, Gluten-Free Panda did make an appearance, but it was slightly too late. Ezreal actually managed to pick that one up. Either way, Chosen Esports now onto this Mountain Drake, and we'll have to see if a reaction does come out from Roman. They know what's happening, but don't know if they're going to be in the right position in time. Baron slowing down here.
Oh yeah, this is technically a 50-50, and they know that now, so they're backing away. They do have some low health bars.
They want it.
He's coming through. They're going to try and take the Baron away. Let's see if they can smite this one. It gets stolen away by Doxa. What can this man not do? Now seeing if they can get anything more. Doxa looks like he will actually go down. 2 big kills will go over to Vel, but another miss light comes through from IWT. Back-to-back objectives. This man not having the game you needed.
When all else fails, Doxa does not, just pops in for a second. Yoink! Think I'll be taking that one for myself. Now it's Chosen here with the Baron advantage, able to pick up the gold as well, and just one lone tower for the side of Roman as a consolation prize. They missed out on the grand prize there.
Oh, that is just so frustrating to see the way this game has been going and some of the circumstances, to see how 2 objectives, now not going over to IWT. There's no doubt in my mind that this man's got to be a bit frustrated, but, it's important to still stay level-headed as, they did end up taking down a couple members that did have the Baron buff, and now they've shown us that they are able to actually win some of these team fights, at least able to contest it. So the game, even though it looks like we do have a pretty big goal lead, in favor of Chosen, this game is still winnable, but it's just going to come down to those small execution plays that they just need to play a little bit better, and they still can put on a show for us here in game 1.
Oh, yeah, definitely going to be able to put on a show for us here. I mean, ever since that dive down in the bot lane, you could tell Roman was not going to go down quietly. They are going to put as much of a tantrum as possible before going down. Unfortunately here, Chosen, it felt like they picked Roman up. They were like, yeah, you can have a lead. And then they just dropped them. Able to pick up that Baron right before their eyes. Now initiating a siege onto this bot tower. Perhaps going to be a split as Rise heading towards this mid tower. We'll have to see if the waves sync up and they are able to put all their pressure onto the map at the same time.
Yeah, and they're going to move towards this top side, trying to knock down the tier 2. New wave looks like it will be cleared out. Doxa, however, putting out lots of poke, and the sieging so strong here. And now they're going to secure that tier 2. The Israel and Zoe doing so much work chunking out these members, and now they're looking on to the tier 3 down here in the bot lane here. They have the wave.
Someone needs to give Fortnite a memo that there's a siege happening right now. Okay, now he's recalling. But I think it's going to be a bit too late. That inhibitor tower going down so low. Nope. Fortnite has arrived fashionably late, but better late than never. Nice hook though.
Big death sentence. Looks like it will be a kill. And that's going to go to Tora. Big kill coming through for them. It's going to be a 5v4. Still looking to siege. They want to break open the base here. And I don't know if Roman should opt in for this fight. Or if they should just concede this, as this looks like it's going to go down. But they are going to go in here. That's going to be the shadows used. We are forward. Can't go down just yet. Gonna flash away, looking to get out. Calling comes out from Notorious, putting a bit of damage onto Doxa here. Everyone's going to remain alive. They're going to get themselves the bottom inhibitor. Nice transition from Karaoke. Now Flash comes out, actually looking to see if they can find Zed. Flash for Flash should lead to 2 inhibitors.
All right, 2 inhibitors already taken down, and still a good chunk of that Baron buff available. Will they just transition straight over? No. Looks like they're just going to go for a recall, maybe just start to take control of that top side, now that you can assume the bot side is going to be shoved in most of the time.
They're going to be shoved in constantly now, and they're probably going to make a swift transition after this mountain right to the top side. You know, we do have the Rise that's able to split. He might go up there, actually opting in to go towards the bot side of the map to keep those minion waves shoving in. Definitely makes a lot more sense. It is going to be tough to deal with him 1v1, and when he's got that huge caster minion, or the huge minion empowered, it's so hard to deal with it. So he's going to have that advantage. Looks like they're going to get themselves the Mountain Dragon way out, but maybe looking on to Gluten-Free Panda here is going to actually pop his Seraph's Gauge. So he's going to no longer have that cooldown, but they're just going to make a rotation now to the Mountain Dragon, but we might have a contest here.
Mountain Drake going over to Chosen here. There's the Zed engage.
Mark here, belting if he can get the kill, but he's not able to land the short chance. Stopwatch comes out here, but the fight is still breaking out. Sejuani looks like she might be falling, able to flash out. Q comes out. Looks
no.
This goes wide, but there's a sleep coming through. 2 kills now falling. Chosen wants to end it now. They have a few members looking for it. Look at the Hecarim come through. Now 4 members are going to go down here, looking to make it the 8th. Trying to do what we can. We like Fortnite, trying to see if he can find one. He at least finds the mid laner that's been popping off the entire game, but nonetheless, that is the ace coming through. Chosen coming alive, able to show us how good they are on some of these champions rising up the meta, and they will take game number 1.
And that was just some clean play overall coming out for Chosen. You could see the disparity in that mid lane. Doxa definitely playing almost 1v2 there. Able to come out on top over IWT on the Sejuani as well as Vel on the Zed and put his team over to a good lead. The game slowed down a bit after that, but still Chosen playing it by the book, securing these objectives, chipping away at those towers, and did have some very strong reactions coming out. Whenever it looked like Roman wanted to pull something else off, they were always there to react to it. And of course, that Baron, sort of the icing on the cake. I didn't really see that Baron having too much of an influence on the game. Would have been more to drag it out. But either way, Chosen, it was a strong game.
Yeah, they have a strong game, and who's to say how that game goes if IWT actually steals that and is able to secure it. They are the ones that have control over the map, and they can look for the hard engages with the Sejuani and the death mark from the Zed, and able to follow it up with the Karma shields, the Vladimir in the backline. Who's to say what could have happened? But unfortunately, it was the man himself, Doxa, who put up a crazy amount of damage that game, that was able to pull out that win and steal that Baron for them. However, we are going to be throwing it to a short little break, so we'll be back in just a few short moments for game number 2.
Take a moment right here, feeling like it's out gear. Driving towards the sun with a rose and a gun. Feel the wind in my hair, going nowhere I swear. Like an outlaw on the run, dangerous but it's so fun. Running, running, no. Hold on, don't let go. Running, running, no. Keep running. Told my boss that I'm done. Had no luck with my mom. Say, what will you do with your life? You know it's hard to survive. A cigar in my mouth. Maybe guilty but proud. Now I'm an outlaw on the run. Dangerous but it's so fun. Running, running, no. Hold on, don't let go. Running, running, no. Keep running.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Risen Champion League. If you are just tuning in now, it was Chosen Esports that were able to take game number one. They just pretty much snowballed that mid lane there. An amazing plays came through from Doxa, able to just duo that up with his jungler rather, and just pretty much took over the game from there. Switch, we're jumping into game number two. This is their opportunity to change up those draft picks.
We are, yeah, getting into game number two. And I gotta say, Roman, if they want to take control back in this series, they're gonna have to come out with a strong draft. And hey, what better way to start it than taking Doxa off of that Zoe? Come on, who can argue with that logic?
Yeah, that Zoe was pretty threatening and did quite a bit of damage. On the other side of things, though, they are going to respect that Riven pick, and they are going to get rid of that, like we saw in game number one. So still keeping some of those same champions that they did ban away in game one, as you know, they ended up winning game one. So there's nothing really that they were too scared about. We're going to get another ban onto that Urgot, and we are now zipping through things with the Morgana here from Chosen.
Like I said, the ball now in Roman's court. Would love to see them come out with a strong pick and ban to grab momentum back into this game. Very curious to see, since they have first pick here, what exactly they will secure. Of course, flex picks, definitely a priority coming into pick and ban because of the versatility that you can have. Not having to designate your champion into one specific lane is a plus. Kindred now taken off the table as we wait for Chosen's last ban. And now let's try and take a look at the mid pool as we start to see what the first picks are going to be, because you have Zoe off of the table. You still have Zed there, Xerath, a pick for Vel that he might just take up. LeBlanc still up for Doxa. He is known to put on some mean performances on that champion, and a couple other hard carries still available, right? You have the Syndra, you have the Cassiopeia, and the Silas. You can't forget about the Silas, so very curious to see what we'll have here at Rise. All right, so there's the flex pick, right? And not exactly designated towards either the top or the mid. I'll have to see what the reaction is here from Chosen. Oh, the Akram looking tasty.
Yeah, it looked pretty good in the last game, and it's looking good here again in game number 2. Looks like they might opt in to actually take the Vlad for themselves this time around. So overall, looks like 2 really big power picks coming through for them. And again, this is another champion that you can flex. And I think what I love about 9.7 right now is all the champion that you're able to flex specifically for your solo laners.
Yeah, I really like this patch. Actually, there's just so much variety. We saw in that TSM versus Cloud9, so many different compositions you're able to play. Lucian and Thresh picked up here for Roman. Their bot lane was one of their saving graces, so we'll have to see if they can put on a stronger performance than last game, because though they did get a small lead in that lane phase, they were just not able to translate it into the win in skirmishes or in team fights.
Yeah, they were suffering so bad through the mid lane, and because they lost that turret really early as well, they pretty much concede all of their jungle pressure, and it makes it so easy for them to just move into the jungle and do whatever they would really like, set up the vision they need to. So overall, that is going to be what they're going to opt in for in the bot lane. Again, Rakan going to be the response though, so could potentially look for that Zarya, as it's already actually going to be banned away, jumping right through things. Zed and Xerath taken off the table, and then we are going to round it off with Ilva.
Look at all those mid lane pinches right now, though. I'm very curious to see what exactly will come out here. We still have the Syndra, like I said, a very good blind pick still available. Orianna as well, nothing to scoff at. The Vladimir could be flexed as well. Maybe we could be looking at a top pick. And I didn't mention it earlier, but the Vlad and the Rise actually swapped between the teams. It was Chosen with the Rise last game, but now Cho'Gath here, so Vladimir mid, you have to say, and maybe Cho'Gath top lane.
Yeah, we see Cho'Gath actually picked into the Rise quite a bit, so it's a little bit of a soft counter with the silence. So it will be an interesting pick for the top side of the map if they can play towards that a little bit more. We did see a pretty good performance, come out there from We Like Fortnite. He played pretty decent on the Vlad. Now, however, looking up to Roman, it does not look like we're going to get a Sejuani here, looking to change some things up with the Ivern.
And there you go, the one strong lane that wasn't failing game 1 is now going to be perhaps the main priority here coming into game 2. The Ivern going to be helping that Lucian a lot when it comes to the mid game and early skirmishes as well, going to give him the constant shields and perhaps even build an Ardent Sensor down the road to help him dish out the damage he needs. And hey, an Orianna as well to help control that team fight, maybe provide another shield. And you've got a pretty strong looking composition, and it's mid-range as well. They all share relatively the same range. Lucian, Orianna, and Rise are going to be looking for that engage onto that one person and putting a large amount of burst damage. Now Aurelia here being hovered, we'll have to see if it's picked up.
Yeah, the Aurelia obviously still known to be into the meta and good into a few good mages, but last minute switch is going to be the Syndra. And we saw an excellent performance come out of Doxa. He had a champion that did a lot of burst damage, and now he has a champion yet again that does a lot of burst damage with that the Unleashed Power, able to just delete people. And he's saying, listen, I had a good game last game. I have the Syndra. I'm feeling good, and I'm looking for some solo kills.
Yeah, and there is an elephant in the room right now, Visions, and it's where's the marksman here for Chosen? I think it might be Vladimir bot with Rakan. I don't know. I'm just spitballing at this point.
You're right.
I could see Cho'Gath working, right? Because if you have the Rakan engaged, you can line that up with a Rupture as well. And if you're post level 6, you could just eat the enemy AD carry. If that is what you want to go for. I mean, Syndra could be flexed down there. I'm really just spitballing at this point.
Yeah, it's we really have to kind of figure out where everything's going. We'll have to wait for the actual draft to load in for us here. So that will be interesting. I mean, we would naturally think it would be the Vladimir, but who really knows at this point in time where they're going to decide to put everyone. They had an excellent game number 1, so they can pretty much do whatever they'd like. We can't really question them. We'll see what they end up doing. However, I do think the interesting pick here is the Ivern, and not specifically the Ivern, but the person playing the Ivern. And I think it's very important to see how he's going to be able to bounce back after a pretty, what we could consider an unlucky game number one. There were some unlucky circumstances that did happen. So we'll have to see how he can bounce back. But, Hecarim is able to punish the champion that does not have a lot of mobility and, able to respond to ganks that he does have and able to respond with those counter ganks. So I think a lot of pressure is going to be on IWT to see how he can bounce back here in Ute.
Yeah, IWT, no stranger to the utility junglers, does play a lot of Nunu, a lot of Sejuani, as we saw. And now onto the Ivern. I haven't seen it in a long time. We'll have to see if it pans out just right. And like you said, against the Hecarim, we saw a strong performance coming out gluten-free Panda on the Hecarim last game, and able to take that lead alongside Doxa, just winning out on the 2v2s and then transitioning that into winning out on the skirmishes, taking control of the map. It's a tall order. If you are IWT, you're going to have to perform very well on this Ivern pick.
Yeah, you certainly are going to have to. It's obviously a lot of eyes are on this man to see how he's going to be able to do it. And I think the Ivern pathing, it can be very creative. Sometimes you're able to, to try and see if you can cheese that enemy buff and smite it away, or you can, have to set up your camps and instantly move to the opposite side of the map. It is very interesting to see how the Ivern starts, and it's going to be even more interesting to see how the actual Hecarim looks to punish the Ivern, because he is very vulnerable in the early game, as he does have to wait for those camps before we can actually take them, of course. So definitely a lot of question marks heading into game number 2, and a lot of champions that we still maybe don't have a total idea of where they're actually going to be going. It looks like it might potentially be that Vladimir in the bot lane, though.
Yeah, looks like it's just based off of the actual client pick and ban here. So that would be Cho'Gath top versus that Ryze. Like you said, a favorable matchup, able to consistently put down that silence. And this is 9.7, so that rupture on a 7-second cooldown, no longer that 9 seconds, so 2 seconds earlier. And that is a small numbers change, but in my opinion, a really big influence. It's an AoE knockup. And having that on a 2-second lower cooldown, especially when you get into team fights, that could really be devastating.
Yeah, and I think that was what Riot talked about. They talked about, making this champion be more influential in those team fights and add extra CC to his kit, as he doesn't have really any other CC besides that Q, that rupture. So being on a lower cooldown now, and obviously a champion that usually tends to build a little bit of cooldown reduction, especially into, quite a bit of AP here, could result in seeing quite a few ruptures and quite a few team fights. So I'm excited to see how that's going to play out here, as I have not seen too much Cho'Gath on the recent patch, but we do have a lot of picks that we have so much to say about, but we're going to have to wait before the spectator delay. So we are going to throw it to a short little break before we can get into the game, guys. Do not go anywhere. We'll be back in just a few short moments. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to game number 2 between Roman Esports and Chosen Esports. Chosen Esports currently up 1-0, looking to see if they can close things out here. Roman trying to respond and force things to game number 3 with a few new picks as they are headed down to the bot side of the map, potentially looking for a bit of cheese.
Straight off the bat, just taking a stroll. I love Ivern's walking animation, by the way, but we might see a nice snare here. Nope. Going to be keeping a good amount of space. 1 yardstick away from that Ivern at all times, and that's going to mean safety for Turk on that recon. So
yeah, it's going to be fine. If it was a champion that actually didn't have too much mobility, something that I've been seeing recently, not like too often, but they'll flash over the walls down on the bot side, and one person will flash because they can see them from the brush, and then the whole team walks up. But by then, the Ivan, whoever flashes with the ITC, throws the Q. As I say that, we are going to get a pause. Looks like we got a support MC here. So we have some extra time to talk about the game and to talk about the matchups there, as they didn't get the successful level 1 off, but we do see 3 members stacking here strong in 1 minute and 12 seconds, potentially maybe looking for that blue buff to punish the Ivern.
yeah, this is like the "we'll be right back" meme, where like something bad is about to happen and you cut it off right now. We might still see this brush check here. Oh, Golden Free Pounder actually just shows to get a nice forward down. There's a rupture.
The rupture. IWT has to flash and switch, man. This man just had a pretty rough game number 1. He goes to get the ward out. That's fair, but he just had to blow his flash.
It's hazing coming out from Chozu. Welcome to the neighborhood, friend. Drink some refreshments are to your left.
Oh, that is just so frustrating. We'll have to see how he can pass back. Nice play to the bot side here. Turk actually going to get chunked really low here. And this is really good punish coming through for the side of Roman, as Rakan and Vladimir don't really come online until they start to get some cooldown and some levels here.
Right, and in general, I think they just prefer that longer extended trades over time, as Vladimir is able to restore most of his HP. We saw it last game. He was down to like 100 HP Q 20 seconds later, and he was back over to half, and he's going to do the same job here. Unfortunately, it was Turk that took the bulk of that trade damage there, and Hecarim going for a cheeky little engage here, perhaps. Already checking around that blue side for Roman here. Let's see if Iron is able to secure his blue buff.
Yeah, he is getting contested, but he's going to be able to get that with the help of his passive, and that is going to be big for him at least. So able to get that for himself, not falling too far behind. Obviously doesn't have the flash. Hecarim's going to go back up and try to hit that level 3 for himself so that he can start looking for those ganks and start being an impact on the map. We see a push from the man himself. Doxa just showing how aggressive he is and that he can take over the lane. And, we know some solo kills are going to be coming in around there once he hits that level 6 with the unleashed power.
Yeah, that Syndra is just very deadly to play around, and already landing a stun there. And able to take a good chunk there out of Vel. He's been taking the bad part of these trades for pretty much this entire series so far, unfortunately.
Truly has been. See a lot of members come over. This is how much pressure he's drawing. It does actually force a flash out of Doxa, which will relieve a bit of pressure towards the mid laner. And this is also a good opportunity for them to return and see if they can shut it down.
Yeah, it's just not going to pan out with anything, but either way, showing up and saying, hey, you can roam here at any time, since Lucian does have a better time shoving than the Vladimir and Rakan. Oof. Still Vel on that back foot, and while we have a bit of time, let's talk about that invade level 2 or 3 coming out from Gluten Free Panda. It was basically a coin flip. If he picked the right side, he could have taken the buff without Ivern having to prep that buff up, but as we see in the top lane, nice rupture lands.
Yeah, and this could force the flash up potentially. We like Fortnite. It's going to have to flash away, and that is a big play from Karaoke. We talked about the South counter up on the top side, and Cho'Gath already able to take advantage of that and will blow a big summoner out of We Like Fortnite.
Already a decent advantage, and that might just prep a gank coming in later on. That sounds devastating. The Hecarim into a Cho'Gath rupture is the stuff of nightmares. We'll have to see if it comes to fruition here as a nice hook lands onto Turk.
Big death sentence, but they're not going to be able to follow anything up just yet, but still able to pressure them up in this lane. They have the wave in a pretty good spot, and we're going to have to walk up for some of that farm here. So really, this has pretty much been the key points, of Roman Esports was the bot lane in the last game, and they seem to have a good transition into game number 2, doing the exact same thing, trying to find the leads, trying to snowball one of their lanes here.
Right, the solution being the spear point for the bot lane success coming out here for Roman. It brings a lot of upfront damage and will definitely smash the Vladimir if he does not pull out in time. Now, overall, we're just going to look at the map and see a decent CS lead coming in here for the bot lane of Roman, 36-21. But on the other side of things, Doxa had a good lead of his own, around 6 so far.
Certainly has a good lead despite getting pressured there by a few members. Now we see IWT not able to set the rupture, and now Gluten's going to come flying in. Shield's going to come out, but he has no flash. It was actually just about to come up in a few seconds. So they're just going to be able to punish that timer, and that is going to be a big first blood going over to Gluten-Free Panda.
Man, the poor tree cut down in his prime, and look at this pressure coming out for the side of Chosen. They call their top laner over. That puts the initial rupture down, and then Gluten-Free Panda to put the killing blow down. It's just really tough stuff. IWT just on the back foot this entire series so far.
Yeah, they really have been, but it isn't as big of a blowout there in game number 1 that we were getting. That was 2 or 3 kills, so at least they're still in a good position as we see some trading down to the bot side. Might potentially have a reset coming out there from the Chosen Esports bot lane, as it looks like we will now. TP still available for Shimatora, as he's going to be able to get back fairly quickly. Rupture landing in the top side, and look who is coming up here. No flash available on We Like Fortnite, but does have the ultimate available if he so wishes, but might not have the mana now. He's getting run down. Rupture's going to land. Gluten-Free Panda picks up his 2nd kill of the game, abusing the top laner with no flash.
Oh, just like that, call the top laner over. We saw the flash blown early, like you said, from Fortnite, and that's an easy pickup. Now 2-0. Gluten-Free Panda on this Hecarim is putting in a very similar performance to last game. I'm getting some deja vu here.
Yeah, similar performance indeed. The Hecarim able to start the snowball off here early, has the farm advantage over the Ivern, and the Ivern has the Moby boots available, so he's able to move around the map a lot faster here, and he's at least going to be able to deny one camp. We all know Ivern is the best counter jungler, as he typically needs smite in order to actually steal a camp away, as he has to wait for that passive onto those camps. And now we see Gluten-Free also has the level advantage because of that, and he's going to get himself a 2nd red buff here, as he took the first one from IWT, so he is feeling good at this point in time. He's still sitting on a bunch of gold.
He is, and Hecarim functions very well with items. Imagine if you're able to get a gold lead and just get a Triforce off of that when you should be getting your jungle item. Is going to provide a huge amount of damage if he's able to go and get a lead for himself, but little trade here in the bot lane. There's the Hemo Blake.
Yeah, level 6 available for Shimatora. Now using the pool to see if they can find it. Ignite taking out. Notorious going dangerously low. They're under the turret now, though. Flash comes out. They are able to find a dual kill onto Notorious, but it's going to be a 1-for-1. Now Shimatora trying to get away from the threat to make sure it's not a 2-for-1. Doxa in some trouble. Does have his summoners available. Death Sentence landing in the bot side. Can the solo kill come through here? He's going to get the heal, but that's going to be Bronson coming through, which will make that a 2-for-1. Big plays from the Roman Esports bot lane.
Aha, the flexing coming out from Bronson, the kunai with chain to put that last hit on the table, and 2-0 for the Thresh. Not exactly where we prefer our leads to be on, but you'll take what you can get if you are Roman.
Yeah, you certainly will. Big plays coming through for them. We see a huge CS lead in favor of Doxa right now. This man doesn't have any kills. He soon could, though, as Vel's getting a little bit low. He's at least able to trade back over a bit, but the CS lead is devastating. And now we have a play down on the bot side. The quickness into the grand entrance into the shadows is going to find another kill onto Notorious after just getting back to lane, so he is actually going to lose quite a bit of golden XP.
So brutal, and I love the focus coming out here for Chosen Esports. They see the Ivern, they look at the composition as a whole and say, hey, if I put this Lucian behind, this composition ain't gonna look so hot when we come into the mid game. So already a 0-2 Lucian. The problem with that is he's really just left dead and not able to farm as much. The tower already being chipped down, so him being put further and further away from his chance of getting a first tower kill as well. It's really, really brutal. You saw the gank there, and how do you counterplay the Hecarim gank where he lands that point and click charge, he has the ult right afterwards. A nice knock up there, but actually
a great entrance though.
It's
gonna go golden, but it doesn't matter. He's going to fall. Notorious gets something back. He needed that kill as he missed a huge wave. However, they still were able to get themselves 3 platings down the bot side, so still sitting pretty. As we now have some top lane fighting here, as we like Fortnite doesn't have too much mana, it's probably gonna have to opt in for a back.
Oh wow, Blue Free Panda making a showing, and the Hemo plays down.
A nice Lancer comes out here. Shimitora gonna get taken a bit low with his jungler with the calling, but overall they're gonna be a-okay. Ryoki putting a hurt on, looking for the feed. Gonna actually not find the auto. That was a big flash out of We Like Fortnite, as you are able to flash that auto from Cho'Gath with E, so big plays come out from him not to fall down, but still losing pressure in the top side of the map.
Just one auto away, but not quite enough for Karaoke. Unfortunately, gonna miss out on that meal, but maybe the next one.
Yeah, potentially the next one here. It's looking down on the bot side yet again. This is where the action really has been. They're fighting back and forth. Brunson in an excellent position to be able to set up his AD carry at this point in time, doing what he can. We haven't really seen anything come out from the Ivern though. And despite going for the Moby boots very early, we haven't seen much pressure. That might be because he doesn't want to get counter ganked from the gluten-free Panda, who's able to pop that ghost from such a far range and able to come flying in. Big death sentence gonna land. Now the plans of both on top of everything, trying to get out. Finally, we see a play that is only going to blow the quickness out of Turk there, so he should be a-okay. But they are looking to siege onto this turret and see if they can knock down.
Good siege coming out from Ivern as well. He does have those ranged autos. And when in a brush, even more damage. So able to put their resources all in the bot lane. But you can see on the other side, Gluten-Free Panda now going for this Rift Herald. It's going to be a trade of objectives. We'll have to see if Roman can actually pick up this tower or if they're going to be blown back.
Yeah, they're trying what they possibly can. They're trying to see if they can clear the wave, but Rift Herald now is going to be secured over to Gluten-Free Panda, which will help them for looking for a little bit more plating if they so wish, and it looks like he might just run to that mid lane and drop that Rift Herald. See if they can get that plating potentially. That's what we see a lot, but now Shockwave onto the mid lane. Gonna be a big Shadows play. Diving under the turret here. Gluten-Free Panda's in a tough spot. Gonna be able to get out just barely there, and they're going to force a lot of summoners out of these champions. Now Renson looking to see if they can find a play here. Looks like they're going in for the all-in. Karaoke in some trouble. Calling coming out. Gonna be a flash forward, but not able to find a kill. And now he is in the middle of the team fights. He will go down. Big kill will go over to Notorious. He's gonna be able to get his second of the game, able to respond to that play in the mid lane.
And a crucial kill there. Timely fashion. IWT coming in just in time to be able to save his Orianna. Flash away, and that put Gluten-Free Panda in a bad situation. But now you can see Rift Herald coming down. This is probably going to be the end of that mid tower here. And the trade bot lane for the Rift Herald just did not pan out right.
Yeah,
well, actually, we'll have to see if they can put the nail in the coffin for this mid tower. Or if just there might be a little bit more time here for Roman to pick up that first tower gold.
Yeah, they still do have the opportunity, but they did get a lot of plating up the back end of that, which was huge for them, trying to build up that gold lead. Now, moving towards the bot side, as they have 2 very low tier 1s, one into the mid lane and one into the bot lane, and this Ocean Dragon is, really doing such a good job for Chosen Esports here, as they're able to stay around so much longer, and, a lot of champions that blow through their mana fairly quickly. It's really unfortunate for Roman, as they just aren't able to have that kind of regeneration for their mana and health bars, so they do have to go for resets a little more often, as we do see Doxa here trying to see if he can get that solo turret gold. He's gonna find the stun, but he's not going to greed for it just yet.
Yeah, and like you said with the Ocean Drake, prime example here, Doxa just sticking around the entire time, trying to put the finishing touches on that mid tower here. Infernal Drake started here for Gluten Panda, but I think Roman, no, they're just not going to be able to arrive in time. That's going to be Infernal Dragon pick up for Chosen Esports.
And no miss smite coming out from Gluten-Free Panda. He will secure that for his team. That is a big dragon to get to add with your Ocean Dragon. So big play comes to you for them. They have an idea of when they're going to be backing. They're able to take advantage of that. But that will be that mid turret going down. First turret of the game will go over to Doxa there just to extend that goal lead a little bit more for himself, as he has built himself out a monstrous CS lead, has 150 CS at 15 minutes. Huge plays coming through for him as he is taking over this game and showing his dominance in the mid lane.
Yeah, he's been playing low-key this entire time, just farming like a monster. 150 CS at 15 minutes. That's almost exactly on the mark for how you want to be measuring your CS per minute. That's just really impressive stuff coming out here for the side of Doxa. He's not exploding in that mid lane, but he doesn't necessarily have to at the moment.
He's building up that lead, and now we have a plan to the bot side here. Flay's going to come out, but they're going to blow everything onto Bronson. He's going to be able to flash out for now. He will play on a few members. Nobody falling just yet. Now Notorious seeing if he can trade back over. Dashes forward here. That is a big route. Now looking if they can force a flash out. Follow-up flash from Notorious here. Shimatora, can he get out? He cannot. Notorious will clean up yet another kill. Starting off the snowball, going to be 3 kills strong.
And the damage coming out from Notorious is actually becoming pretty strong at the moment, as I mean, you're starting to see one of the flaws of Vladimir being he just cannot compete with the damage output of the solution. He's just not able to get the better of that fight. All those champions really participating in that bottom lane fight for Chosen Esports, they're pretty much all burst, right? You have the burst damage coming out from the Hecarim, the Rakan, and Vladimir as well, but Bronson, just a bit of an overstay and not syncing up with his AD carry there. Nice Shockwave.
Yeah, Shockwave to the mid lane here. Doxa's in a bit of trouble. IWT trying to slowly beat him down with the red buff auto attacks here. He's going to try and flash away, but the root's going to come out, going to lane. He's going to go back in here, but he doesn't have that much damage. And Doxa's going to be able to get out just barely there, ticking down, able to use both of his summoners to stay alive.
That was actually surprisingly close coming out for IWT. The Iron Master just not able to pick up that kill there. Either way, still very even in this game. We saw the bot lane dive go in favor of Roman off the back of Notorious, and he is getting his items. Definitely putting down damage at a quicker pace than Shimatora onto Vladimir, but the real disparity is coming out for this mid lane. Like you said, Syndra coming out for Doxa already at a looks like 55 CS lead coming out for him, so it's steadily increasing over time. The spot tower actually might be going down here. Nope, the response coming out for Chosen.
Yeah, we see them move their jungler down here to see if they can try and stall this out. So they're going to have to wait to secure that tower, as now we can also see Doxa has made his way down to the bot lane, seeing if he can do anything to stall out and save that turret. See a transition to the top side here for Turk as well as Shimatora, as they got themselves that turret. They're 2 turrets strong, and they're just going to see if they can shove in to We Like Fortnite. But We Like Fortnite does have quite a bit of wave clear and is a pretty hard champion to dive, as you have to show him a little bit of respect.
A very traditional lane swap as well, putting your bot lane over to that top side once you've taken down the tower. Fortunately though, Roman's bot lane does have to stick around to put that final touch onto the bot lane tower. Now Karaoke reacting to this push and may be able to wave clear it in time. It's tough. He's gonna have to dodge a hook perhaps. Nope, just gonna go down like that. There it is. We might see both bot lanes transition to that top lane, or perhaps just stick around because Dragon is around half a minute away.
Yeah, you mentioned that, and that is an Infernal Dragon that's coming up. So I'm actually kind of curious to see if they do transition the bot lane to the top side, as you know, Lucian is one of their strong carries, and they need to play around the bot side of the map right now. So if they do transition to the top side, then they would be conceding that dragon. But we do see them make their way back down to the bot side, and I really like this call out of Roman, because they want to be able to contest this. You do not want to give over another Infernal Drake to this team.
Yeah, this disparity of being 2 Infernal Drakes to 0 is actually pretty huge in my opinion, and you don't want that when you're looking at the rest of the game, looking down the road and saying, I do not want to be behind damage, especially when I'm already a good head above the Vladimir in terms of damage as a Lucian. Looks like they're going to contest it here.
They are going to start setting up for that Infernal. As we see, Shibatora is not taking the best.
Already started.
The rise, but you
There's
said
the
it
TP.
already started. Coming through here. That's about 1,500 health. Seeing if they can smite seal it, but it's going to be secured by Gluten. Now looking for the fight here. They're just going to collapse on the Bell. Bell is going to get taken down. Seeing if they can follow up. Seeing if they can get anything more. Able to take another one down. They are on the run, but Chosen wants blood. Seeing if they can get anything more. They're able to find the ace coming through. They get the dragon switch. They get 5 kills. And guess what? We are at the 20-minute mark. They are running to the Baron.
Just like that, Chosen just pulled the trigger. They're able to pick out Vel, isolated towards that mid side, and then turn back around to the rest of the team. You saw a nice engage coming out from Shibatora on the Vladimir as well, and they were just picking up the pieces after that onto this Baron now, which will surely go for the side of Chosen. This game was bouncing on a nice edge like a minute ago, and now totally in favor of Chosen.
Yeah, completely in favor of them. They're going to get themselves that Baron buff coming through, and this is where they took control last game. And you got to think about it. That whole play started from moving their bot lane down into that play, and because of that, they weren't able to actually match the damage that was coming out. Hecarim has 5 kills. We saw a huge amount of damage come through from Doxa, and Vel was just not in the right position because of that. He unfortunately did go down, but they are trying to see if they can find anything here. 3 members strong, not able to find the root from Ivern, but they are looking to see if they can do the 2v4. Hemo play comes out. Now Rakan looking for the re-engage here. Gonna land on to 1. That's going to be a big shockwave onto 4 members, but not a lot of damage is gonna follow it up. Bell's now gonna go down, looking for 2. They're going to get it. Victorious and Bronson are on the run, but the Hecarim is just too much. And that is going to be 4 kills yet again, going over to Chosen. We saw a desperation play come out from Roman, but it's just not going to matter. They are going to be able to break open the base.
Just like that, Chosen again, just like game 1, putting Roman in distraught. And that just might be their demise, coming now into this top lane tower. Mid being shoved as well. The Baron buff is still very healthy and ticking.
Be able to get the turret now into the inhibitor here. They're going to make a swift transition over to the mid lane, but all the members are back up here for Roman. So they're going to show a little bit of respect. They have a lot of gold in their pockets here, but they are looking to force a play still. IWT looking to see if they can find the Cho'Gath. That's going to be Bronson with the death sentence here on top of the roof, but they're going to look for the re-engage now. It's going to be the great entrance right onto Thresh. He gets deleted with the Feast and the Syndra. Now flash forward, seeing if they can get anything more. Sun going to land. Notorious will fall for the double. This is Chosen looking to end the game now of the Swift 2-0. IWT looking to go low here. Shield comes through. He will stay alive. Stun's going to land onto him. And now another inhibitor goes down. And this is Chosen taking fight after fight, winning it every single time. And they have their foot on the pedal.
And now just taking a quick breather before, you gotta say, putting down the final blow onto Roman. They took control of the game around 5 minutes ago, transitioned that into the Baron, and just like that, where it might just be at the last team fight of the game. It was great play overall coming from Chosen. We gotta look back to that dragon fight, and I just did not see punctual play coming out for the side of Roman, right? They came late to the party, were split up as well. That's why Vel on the Orianna got taken down so early. You think about that top lane when Roman were trying to get something back in return, they didn't see the TP from behind. Gluten Panda came in a very timely fashion, was able to turn that around as well, and it's just been bad to worse now for the side of Roman. Now looking down the barrel of the gun here, are they going to be able to pull something out?
This is going to be interesting because they're going to be able to shove down here. and they have to pull the trigger, but they don't have the items to be able to do it. So it would take an absolute miracle, but they cannot concede 3 inhibitors. And you can already see the minions shoving onto the Nexus turrets here, but they are maybe looking for their play as they did just pop it, but now they're going right onto Vel. He's in some trouble here. Gonna go back in, but that's gonna be gluten-free, finding that kill. They're gonna find the double. Beautiful grand entrance from the Rakan, looking for more. Shimatora in the backline, see if he can delete anyone else. That's a critical kill for gluten-free Panda. 4 kills are going to go down. And now the last one remaining is We Like Fortnite, and you know he's going to Fortnite after this game. This was a very tough match for them, but Chosen play exceptionally well. They're able to come out on top in dominating fashion, and they are showing us that they want a little bit more. 5 seconds on RWC, but they're just gonna finally end the game after a devastating loss for Roman Esports.
Chosen, like you said, dominate, but this entire series coming out game 1, Doxa playing 1v2 and putting the team on his back, able to secure a lead early and push that forward. Now in this game 2 here, just overall, like you can look down the line and good scores all around, but it was still Doxa getting that lead in the laning phase, and of course gluten-free Panda across the map gaining leads for his team off the back of that Hecarim.
Off the back of the Hecarim, picked back to back. They decided not to ban it in game number 2, and they thought that they were going to be able to deal with it. They clearly were not able to deal with it, unfortunately. Gluten-free Panda just putting on an amazing show for us here, and you have to give it up to Doxa, doing the most damage back to back. He didn't have such a flashy game in game number 2, but he was able to build himself up such a monstrous CS lead, and from there, he was able to just take over the game with his jungler. Excellent team play comes out from them, and you just have to give credit to this Chosen squad. They are looking like the scary team in this group.
Right, solidifying themselves as the strongest as their group at the moment, putting themselves above Roman here. And now, just looking at the game overall, it wasn't just the play. You look at that pick and ban, especially game 2, and you had the flex pick Vladimir that worked relatively well. It didn't necessarily feed to Notorious on the Lucian, and it really popped off when you came into those team fights, especially around objectives like the Dragons. And just overall, the pick and ban just looked much cleaner. Game 1 and game 2 coming out for Chosen Esports. They had the stronger mid and jungle 2v2 as well, and that really showed. That was where you could see the biggest disparity coming out for Chosen. That's where they really put themselves ahead of their composition tonight. And I gotta say, looking at MVP, I'm gonna give you a second to think, but my mind's already decided. I think I'm gonna have to give it over to gluten-free Panda personally, because that Hecarim looked phenomenal coming out for him.
It is pretty tough between Doxa and Gluten,
It
but
is, yeah.
I think I agree. I think we have to give it to him. He definitely outmatched his opponent. IWT wasn't able to respond to anything he was doing on the map. He was able to just put out so much pressure, and he took over the early game, which led to the snowball both games. I 100% think we have to give it to Gluten. The Hecarim, arguably one of the strongest picks in the jungle right now, and maybe a bit of a lack of respect came out of Roman Esports. However, that will be the series, but we are throwing it to a montage video of season 5. So we're going to give a swift transition over to that. So make sure you guys stick around and watch that. However, that is going to be it for the production team, and we will enjoy the video with you guys.
So LVNV does have advantages going on in their solo lanes. As you expected, the bot lane difference does eventually start. 22K is chasing down Reese's. Reese's gets the ult, knocks him into turret range, stuns him into turret range.
Turnaround!
That's a solo kill for Reese's.
Gibby now trying to see if he can get one back over. The heel's coming through. He's trying to cut it out. Big Dom trying to see if he can get anything here, as he is not going to secure the kill. It's up to Omar, the 1v1, the tanks, the Senjawani is going to get the triple kill.
this is going to be close.
They
They're
have to
definitely
go
gonna
in
kill the
right
Baron.
now. And Joey soils the Baron! A hero for Fruition Elite! Able to take the Baron down! He does go down, but he shows the Mastery 7, showing why he's going to be the turning point for the side of Fruition Elite.
Flash forward, but they're still diving under the turret. We can see now, here comes the Fear Beyond Death with a 4-man Fear! What was that? Killer Instinct comes through, and that's gonna be a complete ace! What did Sign Me Up just do?
But also, they're saying Ornn has better wave clear and better survivability than the Poppy. They're looking to dive again.
Poppy uses the TP. Top lane while they're still here. He's looking to get tower dive. Tom Kedge does eat her up. She is going to die to the tower. Gragas does body slam under the tower.
Oh,
but
the
the
turkey.
heat up does so much damage. Poppy
What are
gets
you doing?
Boris takes another hit from the tower. He has no mana, but Poppy has gotten too close. She's going to take some return damage. Boris has no mana. He's going to die to the minions. Triple kill for the Poppy.
Goes to the Rift Herald. Here comes Ari with the flash charm and it lands! And that's Kai'Sa falling, and this should be, you'd imagine, Braum eventually going down. The stun comes out, the fourth shot.
So result. Here comes the Predator Mordekaiser.
Alright, and he just ran to his death fast.
Nice Predator.
Alright! It was toxic from both of us. He gets the stun onto the Malphite here, goes in for the kill.
Ooh, gets a kill.
But there is that cannon minion there.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But each your bankers says it's go time. They got to start right now. Paranoia is going to deny vision. Slay support cannot get in there, but they take down Rhetoric. Fat Fap and Pop trying to pop off right now. He still has Divine Intervention if he needs it. He flashes in, but he gets taken down by the calling. And here comes New for life. Flash W stun finds. Oh man, double kill coming in from Vent.
Here comes the cavalry. Xanthor is here on that front side as well. It's a snowball going through. It's going straight for that backline. Mortician can't defend if he's dead. Gothboy in a world of hurt as he falls. Double kill going over to RC.
And now it looks like SSG is ready to run away with this team fight. A double kill going over to Tej. Yuku is showing up with 4 people. The execute lands onto 1, and they may turn this fight around. Yuku, the one-man wrecking machine.
Damage. Baffro and Jack Frost go golden. Hurt Nandez is gonna go in. Alamander picks up 1 and then get on the Baffro. Baffro is here. Hobbs is trying to kite away. Hobbs is gonna go down. Alamander still alive. Great condemned there. He's gonna pick up 4. That's gonna be the quadra kill coming in here for Ultra Instinct.